You think about internet is the infrastructure of messaging or content, but we really haven't had a similar infrastructure for things of value, right, or economy. So Bitcoin itself is this, open, permissionless, borderless, censorship resistance network that power a peer-to-peer payment network. You think about what Bitcoin is, you take it one step further to support not just payments, but support any type of transactions. This is what the promise of blockchain technologies, and this is specifically what we're trying to build. My moonshot is to build the infrastructure for the decentralized economy. We are the only blockchain want to do this multi-asset store value. So we have, again, a layered approach, and then the base layer of this network is going to focus on to be the secure and censorship resistance multi-asset store value. The first inspiration is really Bitcoin. I think for a lot of people in the industry that like me, Bitcoin was a very lightning event and example of what we can accomplish with blockchain technologies, the trustless money and then borderless payment system. Really, I got interested in this field ever since reading the Bitcoin white paper. I think similar to a lot of people. So at the beginning of last year, me and three of my friends started Nervos Network. When we talk about anything of value, in the real world, it tends to be, in the finance industry, and then it's controlled by many layers of intermediaries. And then, this provides both a access problem because a lot of people just don't have access to these financial services, as well as just fiduciary issues, and as we have seen many times in financial crises and such. So what we want to build is the infrastructure. We can make this all very transparent. It's trustless, and then it's going to be borderless. So anybody in less developed countries can have access for these financial services. And also everything's very transparent, and everybody can validate the transactions on chain themselves. We're really a global team. We have a lot of developers in China, but also in Japan, Europe, in the US. But what we want to build is to take this, what Bitcoin does, to one step further, to do not just money, but also to all types of assets and transactions. So with any blockchain technology, you kind of face this trade-off of scalability versus being decentralized, right? And I think different projects in this field tend to pick different trade-offs along this continuum, if you will. So what we're trying to do is, instead of trying to reconcile all the trade-offs in the single blockchain, we use a layered infrastructure, layered approach, so that we're able to build the base layer that take sort of no compromise approach in terms of being decentralized and being the anchor of trust for the entire ecosystem. Then use the second layer for scalability. We also have to strike a balance in terms of supporting the interest of the public goods and really become the neutral, borderless, public, permissionless infrastructure for what we believe is tomorrow's economy. It's very challenging because this field is still very early, and then technology-wise, we still have to sort of be the trailblazer and then be the pioneer and then do a lot of research and development. So it's definitely not trivial, but I think we have come a long way since we started. I think, in general, building anything, any type of infrastructure of this scale, really for the entire world, just takes a lot of engineering, a lot of investment. We started the project at the beginning of last year, and so we raised a series of funding in the middle of last year, and we're now launching what's called the testnet, which is, you can think as the test ground for this technology, so people can come and participate. And then we are almost ready to launch the mainnet, which is the real network, by the end of this year. The world is moving more towards a sort of virtual world or digital world, if you will. It will be more digitized. So our kids' generation will be very used to living in that world. So if that becomes reality, then what we believe is value of the real world is going to migrate to in the digital form, right? And that world itself is going to be open, permissionless, and borderless. There's not going to be countries or jurisdictions in that world. So when that happens, you see blockchain technologies is really going to gain mainstream adoption because, a platform that's not placing trust in any centralized parties or governments or institutions, but on the trust of the common, is going to be the infrastructure that power that more virtualized and digital world. Nervos wants to be the infrastructure of that, custodian of the value in that world, and then provide transactions.